Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here with a look back on all the worlds we got for The Sims 4 in 2019, and which one is my overall favorite. I felt inspired to do this because of a poll I did on Twitter recently asking what's your favorite world of 2019. This year had an interesting variety, and every pack in 2019 except Moschino stuff came with one. So let's get started with Strangerville, the first world of the year that came with the game pack of the same name. This was our first desert environment since getting Oasis Springs when the base game launched back in 2014. Strangerville has a distinct Old Town feel inspired by Arizona and Area 51. This world is also pretty unique for having a storyline that directly affects its appearance depending on how far you are in the quest to save the town from an infection. For a game pack, it's decently sized, having 12 lots in total including the secret base. Usually in game packs, the worlds we get are about half that size, so it's nice that we got a much bigger world this time around. A couple of places that stand out to me are the trailer park, though unfortunately there's only one trailer you can actually live in, as the rest are set dressing. I also love the nearby underground bunker that's underneath the plane. It even has a backstory where the pre-made sim living there named George Cahill would fly his plane called Old Penelope around the world until a flash of light while flying over Strangerville caused him to crash, and he's lived there ever since. I also love the Shady Acres neighborhood, that's the more wealthy side of town, that has some nice views of the desert. Normally I'm not into desert environments, as usually I prefer greener, lusher worlds, but I think Strangerville is pretty decent. Sulani, which is also known to some as Salami, was the next world we got, a tropical location that came with island living. Many of us have been asking for a tropical world for a long time. We finally got it, and wow is it gorgeous. It ended up being pretty different from how tropical worlds are done in The Sims, as they tend to lean towards being made for vacations, complete with hotels. Sulani instead focuses on being more off the grid and laid back, but with one of its islands becoming polluted. In a similar way to Strangerville, you can follow a storyline, sort of, but this time it's more grounded in realism as you clean up Sulani in a few different ways, like picking up trash on land and in water, fishing out invasive species, and chasing away seagulls. It's worth mentioning this is the first world in The Sims 4 where we can swim out in the open water instead of being restricted to pools. There's tons of space in all three districts to swim or boat around. Also, there's interactive dolphins, so that's pretty awesome. The Muapalam Island has a waterfall where you can shower, catch frogs, and even woohoo. Scuba diving is a feature exclusive to Sulani, but sadly you cannot follow them underwater like you can in The Sims 3 Island Paradise. You still have some control over what Sims will do while underwater, and if you try to get some underwater photos, then you actually can get a collection of underwater sea life that you've taken pictures of. But other than that, no, you can't actually see your Sims do all that stuff under the water. You just have to watch from the surface and look at some bubbles. Visually, I'd say this is easily one of the most stunning worlds in the entire game, especially when it comes to the sunsets. And the volcano at nighttime, that is a sight to behold. While island living as a whole disappointed me in the long run, I still love living in Sulani when I'm feeling something different from the typical suburban worlds. The weather patterns are different from most worlds to help maintain that tropical feel. You won't be seeing any snow naturally, though it can still get cool during winter. My Sims did turn blue from swimming in the ocean during that cool weather, so you do need to be careful. There's also monsoons, which is a new type of weather exclusive to Sulani. They tend to happen in late summer and fall, and they occur in shorter but stronger bursts than normal thunderstorms. There's 14 lots in total in Sulani, which I think is pretty good. Of course, it's nowhere near the size of something like Windenburg, but it seems like 3 districts is the magic number these days, so I don't think we're ever going to get a world quite as big as Windenburg again, But thankfully, it is a step up from Del Sol Valley's 11 lots. I would say though that the space that your Sims can roam in within each district of Sulani does rival the size of Windenburg's districts. Realm of Magic is an interesting case as it came with two worlds, Glimmerbrook and the Magic Realm. Glimmerbrook is a small world that you can access normally from the world map, with 5 lots that offers a more realistic wooded setting that feels secluded in a similar way to Grand Falls but still different. The bridge in the center is my favorite part, which I love taking pictures on as the river rushes below. There's some dirt trails which ended up becoming great for bike rides if you own Discover University. The big waterfall at the edge of Glimmerbrook is a visual treat, and has a big portal that leads to the Magic Realm. The Magic Realm's backstory is that there are 3 sages that represent 3 different styles of magic, and they're working together to keep this magical dimension from ripping apart and falling into a vortex, but they're just barely managing. There's one lot, Magic HQ, that you need to cheat in order to edit. There's also Caster's Alley, which seems inspired by Harry Potter's Diagon Alley. The dueling grounds made for magic duels, and a greenhouse with some collectibles that are handy for crafting potions, though sadly you cannot go inside the greenhouse. In my opinion, this is the most visually stunning world in the game, a lot of it thanks to the colorful sky that's almost always changing, along with meteor showers in the background. While Glimmerbrook has pretty typical northwestern American weather, the Magic Realm is protected from weather and stays at a constant state with a warm temperature and mystical clouds. Overall, I think the combo of these two worlds are pretty cool and, again, offer something different from what we usually get. But they are a bit flawed. I wish Glimmerbrook had a few more lots, and that the Magic Realm had more activities, like maybe the broom riding arena from The Sims 3 Supernatural. I think the pre-made lots are less interesting than usual and have some problems, like how one of the houses has stairs leading up to a wall, but there's no door there for some reason, and it being possible to get stuck outside the playable area of Magic HQ's basement while using a broom. Last but certainly not least, we have Brightchester from Discover University. Brightchester is the first world in The Sims 4 to be inspired by the UK. Given how similar the name sounds to Manchester in England, I tend to think of it as a version of that city in The Sims. The weather is even inspired by the UK, as so far I've experienced more cloudy days than sunny ones. It also puts an interesting spin on university worlds in The Sims, because this is the first time you can live in the new world without having to attend university. There's also 2 different campuses in the same world instead of them being separated like they were in The Sims 2. We have University of Brightchester on one side, which is a more old-fashioned school that focuses on the arts. Then we have Foxbury Institute on the other, which is more modern and focuses on science. In the middle, you have Gibbs Hill, which represents the old downtown portion of Brightchester that has some houses as well as a bar and a library. Brightchester also happens to be the second world in The Sims 4 to offer open water swimming. I don't find it as interesting swimming and boating in Brightchester's rivers as I do in Sulani's oceans, but it's still a nice diversion from the stress of university, especially during the summer. Brightchester has 13 lots, just barely below what Sulani has. I love what's here, to the point I wish there was more. You can see a modern, maybe even borderline futuristic looking part of Brightchester in the background of Foxbury, but we can't go there. I'm glad we got the more old-fashioned part of town with Gibbs Hill. If I had to choose between that or a more modern district, I'd rather have Gibbs Hill since a modern district may end up looking too similar to the one we already got with Windenburg and Get Together. It's also a shame we can't live in the row houses in Gibbs Hill, though there are row houses on the gallery that you can download and place on a nearby lot. But overall, I think Brightchester is pretty cool, and I look forward to playing here more, even with Sims who are not attending university. In terms of new worlds, I think 2019 was easily one of the best years for The Sims 4. While I wish they were bigger, The settings are diverse, and making this video makes me want to just jump back into the game and play them some more. If I were to rank them from least to most favorite, I'd put Strangerville at the bottom, then Glimmerbrook above it, and the Magic Realm too, and then Brightchester, with Sulani being my overall favorite world out of the ones we received in 2019. None of the worlds this year I think were outright bad. It was difficult for me to choose between Brightchester and Sulani as my favorite, but Sulani won out for me because of the stunning vistas, lighting, dolphins, and ocean swimming. The ability to build houses over the water is nice too. If you have the Spa Day game pack, I highly recommend placing a spa in Sulani for maximum relaxation. But that pretty much wraps up this world retrospective for 2019. It's a little bit different from stuff that I would usually do for Throwback Thursday, but I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to let me know what your favorite world of 2019 is. And be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest content from The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!